So good morning everybody, and we'll begin with the uh, second session on problems and solutions on computation of gross total income. In the yesterday's lecture, we completed part of this second sum, and we had completed up to income from salary. Okay, and we have to start it from there. Just to recap what we did yesterday. Please mute.
मम्मी भूखा ले.
So in income from salary, yesterday we had computed up to the taxable salary, and here in this case you were given the net salary after certain deductions. So we added back all those deductions, we computed the gross salary, and from that gross salary we claimed two deductions. One was profession tax and the another one was standard deduction under section 16(1). And then final taxable salary came to 12,70,000 rupees in this case. Now there is one more head of income that we will discuss today, and that is income from house property. So let us start computing the income from house property in this case. Now for income from house property, the SEC has given the details of two properties, house number 1 and house number 2. The first one, HP1, is a self-occupied, and the second one is a let-out property. Self-occupied means the SEC is using it for his own residential purpose, and let-out property is given on rental basis. So we'll start with HP1 first. We'll conclude that computation, and then we will go to HP2. So under the head income from house property, we'll add a subheading income from house number 1. Now this is a self-occupied property, and you are given the municipal value as 24,000. But being a self-occupied property, the gross annual value of this property will always be nil. So gross annual value will always be nil in this case. It's a self-occupied property. If you want, you can add here income from house number 1 dash SOP, that is self-occupied property. So gross annual value is nil. It's nil in all the cases, irrespective of if you are given fair rent or municipal value. The annual value of this property is always nil if it is a self-occupied. Then you are given that he has paid municipal taxes for 1920, which amounted to 4,000 rupees. As all of you know, in case of a self-occupied property, we cannot claim any deduction for municipal tax. So we have to ignore this information. The only deduction available in case of a self-occupied property is a interest on loan taken for purchase, construction, acquisition, etc. of the self-occupied property. And in this case, you are given that he has taken a home loan for construction or purchase of this property, and the interest on the home loan is 48,000 for the year under reference. This is the only deduction that we can claim. So less on home loan, this will be minus 48. Interest on home loan is 48,000 rupees. The next is interest on loan by mortgage of house, but amount is used for daughter's wedding. So what he has done, he has mortgaged this house. That means this house is provided as a security to the banker. That is a mortgage. And he has taken the loan from the banker or whomsoever is the lending institution. But that amount of loan is not utilized for specified purpose. That is purchase, construction, reconstruction, renovation, etc. of the house property. In fact, the loan has been utilized for a personal purpose like wedding of his daughter. And in this case, the interest on this loan is not available as a deduction. Only if the loan is utilized for purchase, acquisition, etc. of the house property, you can claim a deduction. Else, that interest is not allowed as deduction. So in this case, the only only deduction that we can claim is 48,000. As a result, this property will result in a loss. Okay, so income from HP1 loss. Negative income of HP1 loss. Have you understood the calculation of income in this case?
Yes, sir.
Yes, very simple. Now we go to income from house property number 2, which is a let out property. Let out property, it is given on rent. So you are given municipal valuation and you are given the rental value also, or what is the rent received. So municipal valuation is 48,000 and rental value is also given, which is 3,60,000. For house property number 2, which is let out, we are given two details. One is municipal value and second one is rent received. So your gross annual value will be higher of these two. Gross annual value will be higher of these two. So higher means 3,60,000. More, that will be your gross annual value of this property. Then you are further given that he has paid municipal tax 2 years, financial year 1920, that is the previous year under reference, and financial year 2021, which is the current financial year, or for that matter, subsequent to the previous year, which is under reference. So he has paid municipal tax for 2 years. The current financial year for which he is offering the income for tax, that is 1920. At the same time, the next financial year, that is financial year 2021. Okay. So how do we claim the deduction for municipal tax? Anyone on this? Can we claim both the deductions or can we claim only for 1920? How do we go about? Sorry?
1920 वाला आएगा ना सर?
सिर्फ 1920 का आएगा. Any more answers? What about others? What are the others saying on this? Any more views on this? Is he eligible only to claim municipal taxes payment for 1920, or can we claim for 2021 also? Yes, anyone? Okay, let's go back to the wordings of the relevant provisions. It says that municipal taxes should be paid during the year and it should be borne by the SSC. These are the two conditions which are laid down by the law for deduction of municipal taxes. Now, when it says municipal taxes paid during the previous year, it doesn't say that the municipal taxes should be for the previous year. It only says payment should be made in the previous year. In other words, the payment can relate to earlier year if it was outstanding, or it could be for current year, which you are paying in the current year itself, or it could be advance payment for next year also, which is actually made in the current year. So irrespective of a period, if the municipal tax is paid in the relevant previous year, that will be allowed as a deduction. The only condition is it should be paid in the previous year and it should be borne by the SSC. The burden should be borne by the SSC. If these two conditions are met, then you can claim the municipal taxes for both the years, earlier year, current year, next year, advance, whatever. Whatever has been paid in the relevant previous year should be allowed as a deduction. Okay. So are you clear about these aspects now, municipal tax? So please do remember, it's a payment-based deduction. It doesn't refer to the period. It could be of earlier year, it could be of current year, it could be of next year also. It could be arrears of earlier years also. Okay. As long as it is paid in current year, it should be allowed as a deduction. Is everyone clear on this? Yes? So we are going to claim the deduction for municipal tax, and that is going to be 14,000 rupees. And what we get is a net annual value of property, which is 3,60,000 minus 14,000. Net annual value is 3,46,000. All of you have completed up to this stage? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So net annual value after claiming the deduction for municipal tax paid is 3,46,000. Next comes the deductions under section 24, and this being a let out property, we can claim two deductions. One is a standard deduction, which is 30% of NAV, and second one is the interest on home loan. Both these deductions are permissible. So from this we can claim two deductions, less deductions under section 24. Deductions under section 24. One is 30% of NAV. So this is 30% of 3,46,000. 1,03,800. And the second one is interest on home loan, which is 60,000 rupees. So if you consider these two deductions, the total amount of deduction will be 1,63,800, and income from HP2 will be 182,200. Income from second house property is 1,82,200. Now, first property HP1 has resulted into a loss, and second property is a positive income 1,82,200. So this loss of self-occupied property HP1 will be eligible for a set-off against the positive income of HP2, and then the net of this will be taken to the outer column as income from house property. So income from house property 1 plus together whatever is the result. That means negative 48,000 and positive 182,200. So it will be 1,34,200. The income from house property, the net result of these two properties will be 1,34,200. And then the last line will be gross total income. So 12,70,000 the salary income plus house property income is your gross total income, which will be 14,04,200. Please complete everything. If you have left out anything, complete that, and then we will go further with the discussion. Any queries on this, whatever we discussed so far?
No, sir.
Everybody is able to follow? Shall we start with the discussion on the next sum, the third question? If all of you have completed?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have the third question. This was circulated yesterday in a PDF. Okay. So let us find out what it is all about. It says that Mr. C has given following details of his income for previous year 2019-2020. His employer is P Limited, and you are given what salary he is getting per month basis from P Limited. Apart from monthly salary, there is one more information about payment of rent. He is paying rent of 15,000 rupees per month. Then his salary is subject to deduction of profession tax of 2,500 rupees, that is for the year. He also received arrears of salary. So we'll have to see what is the tax treatment of arrears of salary. Leave travel allowance is also one more payment that he has received from the employer, and the question also gives you exemption available for leave travel allowance, LTA, which is 25,000. Then there is the information that P Limited contributes 10% of basic and dearness allowance to recognized provident fund. This is the additional information. Then he is staying in a rented house. You are given the details of payment of rent, and the rented house is situated in Mumbai. Apart from that, he has two more house properties which are owned by him, and both are let out properties situated at Pune. So second part of sum will be basically the computation of income from house property. Let us begin with income from salary first, and then we will go to the income from house property. Okay. So usual format will prepare the computation. So let us begin with this format. Okay, individual and resident and ordinarily resident, and then income from salary. So let me write down the components of his salary. He has got a basic salary, he has got a dearness allowance, then he has got transport allowance also. HRA I will take separately, because HRA we have to work out some exemption, so that I will show you separately. So I will show as the last item in salary. Okay. Then he has also received arrears of salary. Okay, this is one more component in his salary income. He has also received leave travel allowance. Okay, that amount is also there. After leave travel allowance, leave one line, and then house rent allowance. So these are the various components of his salary. Now the details given are per month basis. So we have to multiply everything by 12 and then arrive at the appropriate amount. So his basic salary, which is 40,000 per month, multiplied by 12, it will become 4,80,000. Same is the case with dearness allowance. On annualized basis, it will be 3,60,000. Then you have transport allowance, which will become 1,20,000. Arrears of salary, there is no multiplication. This is the actual amount of arrears received. Usually arrears of salary are taxed in the year in which you receive the amount of arrears. That is the standard practice. Okay, unless it is taxed earlier, which is usually not the case. So most of the cases, we assume that it is not taxed earlier unless otherwise given, and we tax it in the year in which the arrears are paid to the concerned employee. The next is leave travel allowance. This is also a fixed amount which he has received, and that is 40,000 rupees. We can claim exemption for LTA. So next line, less exemption for LTA. This is section 10. Under 10.5, we can claim the exemption for LTA. The exemption is readily given. Okay, so we don't have to bother for calculation or exemption related conditions, etc. So taxable component is only 15,000. Taxable component is only 15,000. Now his house rent allowance is 20,000 rupees per month. Okay, and he stays in a rented property because there is a payment of rent of 15,000 rupees per month. He is staying in Mumbai in a rented house due to his employment. So he fulfills the conditions which are laid down for exemption of house rent allowance under section 10, subsection 13A. Subsection 10, section 10(13)(a) prescribes the exemption for house rent allowance. So how do we calculate the exemption for house rent allowance? It gives you three factors. You have to compare the three factors. The least among those three factors is the amount of exemption. The first factor is actual amount of house rent allowance. The second factor is 50% of salary if the house is located in 4 metro cities, else it is 40% of salary. And the third factor is excess of rent paid over 10% of salary. That means it is rent paid minus 10% of salary. So this is how we have to take into account these three factors, and least of these three factors, the exemption will be allowed. So let us calculate the exemption. Okay, house rent allowance. Exemption being the least of the following. Okay, house rent allowance received is 1,20,000. Sorry, 2,40,000. 40,000 is the amount of house rent allowance received. Okay. Now exemption being the least of the following. First factor is house rent allowance received, which is 2,40,000. Factor is 50% of salary house Mumbai. 50% of salary since the house is situated at Mumbai. Okay. Now we have to find out what exactly salary means over here. Now what exactly salary means is it includes basic, it includes DA if DA is part of retirement benefits, and if the employee is paid commission which is based on the fixed percentage of turnover, then we have to include the commission also. I'm trying to clarify the meaning of salary because we are going to calculate 50% of salary. So the interpretation of salary is salary includes basic salary. It will include dearness allowance if DA is part of retirement benefits, and it will include commission which is paid as a fixed percentage of turnover achieved by the employee. Now here you have a hint that P Limited, the employer, contributes 10% of basic and dearness allowance to recognized provident fund. Since the DA is also part of retirement benefits, salary will mean basic as well as DA. So I'll put it in bracket here. This is for your reference only. Since DA Since DA is part of retirement benefit, salary will include basic plus DA. Okay, this is for your reference. So what is this basic and DA? Basic and DA is here. Basic is 480 and dearness allowance is 3,60,000. This put together becomes 8,40,000 basic and DA. So 50% of basic and DA we have to consider here. So 50% of basic and DA. It comes to 4,20,000. 50% of basic and DA since the house is situated in Mumbai. And why do we take 50% of salary? Because DA is also a part of retirement benefits like recognized provident fund, which is given in the question. So we have to include DA as part of salary. And the third factor is rent paid minus 10% of meaning of salary remains unchanged. It will be same as above. Okay, rent paid minus 10% of salary, and the meaning of salary will be same as what we have discussed above. Okay, so let's calculate this factor also. Rent paid. How much is rent paid? It is 15,000 rupees per month. So annual rent will be 15,000 into 12. That is your rent paid. Minus 10% of salary. Salary is basic and DA. So 10% of basic and DA. So I'll write in bracket the calculation. Rent paid is 1,80,000. Your basic and DA together is 8,40,000. So 10% of that will be 84,000. So 1,80,000 minus 84,000. That is the amount of calculation, which is 96,000. So the exemption will be least among these three factors. So 96,000 will be the amount of exemption. 240, 420 and 96,000, whichever is the least one, that will be the amount of exemption. Rent paid minus 10% of salary. So taxable house rent allowance. Taxable house rent allowance will go to the outer column, which will be 2,40,000, the actual HRA received, minus exemption of 96,000. So taxable portion is 1,44,000. Did you follow the exemption for house rent allowance, or you want me to explain it again?
Explain again, sir.
Okay, okay. All of you have written down. Once you are free after writing down the details, then I'll explain it again. सब लोग ने लिख लिया details?
Yes.
Okay. Now he is getting house rent allowance. The amount of house rent allowance is given here 20,000 per month. So that 20,000 per month translates into 2,40,000 per annum. Now when you consider this house rent allowance, you have to also explore the possibility where we can claim exemption for house rent allowance, and the exemption is available under section 10 subsection 13A. The exemption is available provided that the employee is staying in a house which is not owned by him and he is actually making the payment of rent towards such house. In this case, the condition is satisfied because it's very clear that he stays in a house which is situated at Mumbai, which is not owned by him, and he is paying the rent of 15,000 per month for such house. So he satisfies the condition. So next step will be to compute the amount of exemption. Now when you compute the amount of exemption, you have to compare three factors, and the least among these three factors will be the quantum of exemption. So which are the three factors? The first factor is actual house rent allowance. Actual house rent allowance is 2,40,000, 20,000 per month into 12 months. Second factor is 50% of salary if the house is situated in 4 metro cities, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata or Chennai, and 40% of salary in other places. Now in the given case, the house is situated in Mumbai, so we have to go by 50% of salary. So next question is, what do you mean by salary? And the clarification in this regard is, salary includes basic salary. It includes dearness allowance if dearness allowance is also considered for retirement benefits, and it includes commission paid to the employee as a fixed percentage of turnover achieved by him. That is also included in the income from within the meaning of the salary. Now, in the given case, we have one reference here. His employer contributes 10% of basic and DA to a recognized provident fund. This is a hint for us. What is the RPF? Recognized provident fund is a retirement benefit. So when employer contributes to retirement benefit fund RPF, he is taking into account both basic as well as DA. So meaning of salary over here, we have to take both basic as well as DA. So when you compute this 50% of salary, you will take basic salary plus dearness allowance. Both together come to 8,40,000. So half of this, 50% of this is 4,20,000. So that is the second factor for comparison. Third factor for comparison is rent paid minus 10% of salary. Again, the meaning of salary remains same as earlier because it is including the basic and dearness allowance. So rent paid is 50,000 per month, 1.5. So multiplied by 12, annual rent paid is 1,80,000 minus 10% of basic and DA. 10% of basic and DA will come to 84,000 rupees because if you take his salary 4,80,000 plus 360, this together is 8,40,000. So 1,80,000 minus 84,000, 10% of basic plus DA. That amount comes to 96,000. Now our comparison is 2,40,000, 4,20,000 and 96. Whichever is the least is the amount of exemption. So 96,000 is the quantum of exemption or the amount of exemption. He received house rent allowance of 240. We can claim exemption of 96,000. So 1,44,000 is a taxable house rent allowance. So remaining amount of 1,44,000 will be treated as a part of his taxable salary. Are you clear about this? Now, calculation of HRA related exemption 1013A.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Okay. So with this now we will move forward. I'll just add the section here. Exemption under section. Exemption under section 1013A being the least of the following. Okay. So we completed HRA exemption. Now let us go back to salary details. We have taken basic, DA, HRA, rent paid exemption is worked out. LTA we have taken. Arrears of salary also we have added. Profession tax is one that we have to think of now. When you go to the deductions, we have to think of this 2,500. And this P Limited is contributing 10% of basic and DA to RPF. It is not taxable. It is within the limit. Okay. So this is not taxable. So nothing needs to be considered as a part of this contribution. This contribution made by the employer is completely tax-free. Up to 12% of salary, it is completely tax-free benefit. So we don't have to consider anything out of this. It is fully covered within the exemption limit. So no further additions. Then everything else is considered as part of salary income. We can take the total of his salary income. Okay. Gross salary we can calculate now. So his gross salary comes to 12,69,000. Then we have to claim two deductions. One is standard deduction. The second one is a profession tax, which will remain same as even earlier questions. Okay, because profession tax is 2,500. That is given here separately that he has paid. He has been subject to, his salary has been subject to deduction of profession tax of 2,500. So these two deductions, total deductions are 52,500 and taxable salary will be 12,69,000 minus 52,500. That is 12,16,500. Okay, so final taxable salary under the head income from salary will be 12,16,500. I hope all of you have been able to complete this up to this stage. Yes, can we go to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have another head of income now, that is income from house property. Okay. So we have to now compute the income from house property. So income from house property. Again, here there are two properties and both are rented properties. Both are let out. Okay. So income from HP1, which is let out property. You are given municipal valuation and rent received. Municipal valuation and rent received. Okay. So your gross annual value will be of above. 90,000 is the gross annual value. Less municipal tax. We have municipal tax payment, which is given for this property, which is 6,000 rupees. Net. I'm going little fast because this is very simple now. Okay. So HP1, which is let out, municipal valuation is 48,000, actual rent received is 90,000. Higher of these two is your gross annual value. You get a deduction for municipal tax paid. So 6,000 is a deduction. Net annual value is 84,000 rupees. And from this net annual value, we are going to claim the deductions under section 24. So less deductions under section 24. One is 30% of NAV. 30% of NAV is 25,200 and interest on home loan is given as 1,20,000 in this case. Home loan is 1,20,000. So total deductions. 1,45,200. This is a total deduction. So it is turning out to be a loss. Okay. So income from HP1 is going to be a loss. The negative income 84,000 minus 1,45,200. 61,200 is the amount of loss. Any difficulty about income from HP1? Yes, everybody is getting the things clear on HP1. Yes, all of you are writing now.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, little. Now, same way, we have to compute the income from HP2, which is also a let out property. So, writing the details. HP1. Yes. Did you finish?
sir.
Yeah. Now HP2, if you see the details, there is a municipal valuation of 60,000 and rent received is 4,80,000. So gross annual value will be higher of these two, that is 4,80,000. Municipal tax paid for this property is 6,000 rupees. You can confirm the details. Municipal tax paid for this property is 6,000. So we claim the deduction for municipal tax. Our net annual value is 4,74,000. This being the rented property, we can claim deductions under section 24. One among them is 30% of NAV. So 30% of NAV comes to 1,42,200. 30% of 4,74,000 is 142,200. And then the next is interest on home loan. For this property, the home loan interest is given at 60,000 rupees. So total of deductions comes to 2,02,000. 4,74,000 minus 2,02,200. The income from HP2 is 271,800. Second house property gives a positive income of 2,71,800 rupees. Now HP1 is a loss, HP2 is a positive income. So when you finally compute the income from house property, it will be equal to HP1 plus HP2. Okay. So negative income will be set off, will be adjusted, and you will get the net result. So 61,200 negative plus 271,800 positive. The net result is 2,10,600. That loss from HP1 gets adjusted against the positive income of HP2. Any difficulty in HP1 and HP2?
No, sir.
All of you have completed.
No,
Yeah, all of you have completed the notings now for HP1, HP2.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The next step will be to find out the gross total income. Okay. So the total in the final column, taxable salary plus house property income is your gross total income. Gross total income is 14,27,100 rupees. That is a gross total income. So if everybody has finished, can we conclude the session?
yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. So with
Yes,
this,
sir.
we will stop for the day. Couple of minutes. Let me download the attendance also and stop the recording. Two things to be done. Just give me a minute.